Welcome back to the MMA Plug, presented to you by the Fan Cave on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. You can give me a follow along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. We're going to go into Kurtzy's corner right now. And after watching the PFL championships this last weekend, I have a few takeaways. First, as mentioned earlier, the broadcast was still bad, especially for a major promotion. The production wasn't tight from sequence to sequence, especially with all the money that they put into it. I just don't understand how operationally it is that bad. There are regional shows who do it much better, much better. The LFA runs a much better production. I still, just like I say, it's mind-blowing to me how PFL themselves almost makes their product unwatchable in that way. All the extra stuff on the screen is so distracting. The speed metrics don't matter. Why are they there all the time the way that they are? Cutting to the ref's glasses cam in the middle of the round is terrible. Show me that when a finish happens as a replay. It is way too chaotic for live viewing, especially depending on the referee that you have. Some of these guys, like someone like, and he's one of the best out there, but he moves around a lot like a Herzog. Trying to watch that through a glasses cam, that is, I mean, if you're someone who has a weak stomach, you're going to be throwing up from motion sickness trying to be able to decipher what's going on right there in that moment. And also, I don't give a rat's ass what Jake Paul, Wiz Khalifa, or anybody else has to say during the fights in that way. This is not like the Snoopcast. This isn't a podcast in the middle of the broadcast here. Give me the actual broadcast with your panel of experts, input and analysis on the action that is going on right then and there in the cage. You have Sean O'Connell, the natural Randy Couture, and Kenny Florian there for a reason. Again, great that some of these other people are getting some airtime. You're trying to build up Bader's profile as him being a champion coming over from Bellator after the acquisition. But still, let's hear that in between the fights where you have so much downtime. Why do we have to hear that right then and there when there's a fight going on inside of the cage? Just not the right time for that sort of input or that analysis. As we just said, they've announced that PFL Champ versus Bellator Champ card for 2024. And after what I saw last Friday, it's hard not to say that it wouldn't be a clean sweep for Bellator. You could say that Magomed Karamov may be able to wrestle his way to a decision victory against a Jason Jackson, just like Pinedo or Pereira may be able to land a Hail Mary as a bomb that are just a puncher's and a prayer's chance. But overall, skill for skill, I just don't see that being a good run. If you were to match all of them as it stands right now, you're meaning to tell me that the 185-pound Impa, who is the 205-pound champion now of PFL, goes out there and beats Nemkov or beats a Corey Anderson? Not a shot in hell. I just don't see that. The size difference alone is insane. And then once again, you have Don Davis, who made the most dumb Don Davis statement that he could have possibly made that night following the event, proving that he still just doesn't get it. He said that Cyborg versus Kayla Harrison isn't the fight to make. Are you kidding me? He said that you have to do Cyborg versus Pacheco first because of the champ versus champ angle. Now, listen, Don, I understand the semantics, but buddy, rarely, very rarely, do you ever in MMA as a whole have a demand from the fans for a women's fight. You have that on a golden platter right now to be able to make that matchup between Kayla Harrison and Cyborg. If you fail to make that matchup, that is a colossal failure. I understand that Cyborg may be tough to deal with on the business end of things, but how did you not invite her and have her cage side for that event? You had multiple other Bellator champions. According to Cyborg, she wasn't invited or wasn't contacted about it at all. She's one of the most recognized names and faces in MMA, period, and exchanges 1A, 1B, depending on who you're asking about who is the female GOAT of MMA. She has won world championships for every major organization that she has been a part of, whether that be Invicta, Strikeforce, the UFC, or Bellator. She is the only woman in all of MMA to have the resume that has that many titles across that many major organizations. You should be rolling out the red carpet for her. This would be one of the biggest names on your roster per this acquisition and one of the most recognized people out there. Does she have her swirls of controversy? 100%. Absolutely. There's no denying that. But why not elevate that and use that profile to your advantage, especially when you have someone who is as big and jacked as Kayla Harrison is too, just the same? Why would you not build and play that angle? Don Davis, you get the donkey of the day for that statement right there. That blew my mind when he went on in the post-fight press conference to say that that's not the fight that you make. Yeah, once again, to circle back, I do get the angle of the champs versus champs. But when you have the demand, when you have a fight that is right there, that is something that could actually be a draw for you, and especially with one of the biggest names on your existing roster being Kayla Harrison, and you choose not to build that fight or you choose not to make that one, that would just be a catastrophic miss for the PFL. And that would not surprise me if they don't, because that would be par for the course for Don Davis in this situation, just completely missing the boat here. Folks, we're about toward the end of this 2023 frame, which means that it's almost award time. We're going to be having our award show at the very end of the year, but we do have a segment of this award show that we're going to be introducing now for this season per request and per a lot of people just throwing the idea out there after last year's show. We're going to have a fans' choice segment. So for any nominations that you may have out there for Colorado Fighter of the Year, Promotion of the Year, Fight of the Year, Feel Good Story of the Year, whatever you think that there might be a great category for fans' choice. If there's a creative out there, some of the fight photographers or video content creators out there, whether it's Fighter's Eye to Franklin Films, Costa Productions, any of them that are out there in the mix that you feel are worthy of receiving some recognition and accolades here on this original combat sports program here for Colorado, please reach out and let us know. You can reach out to me directly. That's me, Jordan Kurtz, at Comments from the Peanut Gallery on Instagram or on Threads. Let me know. And we want to make sure that we're giving as much love and recognition to as many people out there as possible. Stick around after the break, folks. We're going to be going 3 rounds to close out the hour. I promise you that we have some topics that you do not want to miss. I'm Jordan Kurtz. This is the MMA Plug presented by the Fan Cave on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by Fan Cave on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio.